Hello again, I'm Rodney Reynolds and welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the Zalman 600W Heatpipe Power Supply. What's included is the user's manual, a multi-fan connector, modular leads, power cable, 4 screws for mounting the power supply in the case, and the power supply. The Zalman Heatpipe line of power supplies is available in 500 watts and 600 watts. I will be reviewing the 600 watt model, which is enough power for most average computer systems. Now, how is this wattage determined? To understand that, you need to know what rails are. Rails are basically well-regulated transformers which convert domestic current into the voltages that your computer system can use. And there are essentially 2 different rails, the 3.3/5 volt rail and the 12 volt rail. In this particular case, the approximate maximum peak output of the 3.3/5 volt rail is 155 watts and the 12 volt rail is 504 watts, which is essentially how the wattage of this power supply is determined. The 3.3/5 volt rail is responsible for the motherboard, memory, PCI cards, and so on, while the 12 volt rail is responsible for the hard drives, optical drives, fans, CPU, video cards, etc. Also, some might be interested to know the peak amps on each rail. The plus 3.3 volt and the plus 5 volt rails are 24 amps each. Unlike some power supplies that only have 1 or 2 plus 12 volt rails, this model has 4 and they are 16 amps each. There are a couple of important things to remember when selecting a power supply. The first is wattage. Determine how much wattage you are going to require by the amount of hardware you will be installing. Generally speaking, a medium to high-end gaming rig would require a 500 to 700 watt power supply. If, however, you are going hardcore and have a multiple video card setup with lots of other hardware, select a power supply that's above 700 watts. Second, it should be at or above 80% efficient at typical load. The efficiency of this power supply is rated 84% under full and typical load. Third, it should meet the latest ATX and other current standards, environmental directives, overvoltage, undervoltage, and other protections. This power supply meets all current standards. Fourth, I'd recommend getting a power supply that has APFC. APFC, or Active Power Factor Correction, is something that also assists the power supply in being more efficient and therefore stable under load. APFC basically reduces total harmonics, corrects input voltage, and it allows for full input voltage range. Thankfully, this power supply has Active PFC. Finally, get a power supply that has enough leads for your particular setup. Let's have a closer look at this power supply. The housing is steel, comes in a black paint finish, and they include a very quiet 120mm fan. Note that this fan is recessed, so it will fit in most ATX cases. Along with this fan and the many ventilation holes, this power supply has a heat pipe installed. This ensures maximum cooling so the power supply will remain cool in almost any environment. It also means that the power supply will remain quieter than most when at maximum load. Here's the power cable connection and the power switch. There are also blue LEDs on the inside of the power supply, which makes it look really cool. This power supply has lots of leads, and they are all sleeved, which reduces cable mess inside the case and will improve airflow. The main motherboard leads are hardwired into the power supply and can't be removed, but the peripheral and video card leads are modular. This modular design makes connecting and disconnecting leads a snap. It also means you only need to use the leads required for your particular setup. Additionally, the 4-pin Molex leads have easy grip, gold-plated connectors which make connecting and disconnecting hardware simple. Finally, have a listen to the 120mm fan. This power supply is really not intended for the super hardcore gamer because it simply does not have enough watts, but in most cases this power supply will be fine, especially in a home theater PC environment where this power supply is really quiet even under maximum load, and certainly almost silent when it's installed inside of the case. Power supply itself looks great, has a recessed 120mm fan, a heat pipe, and modular sleeved leads. Overall, this is a great product. Again, my name is Rodney Reynolds. This has been another video review. Be sure to check back very soon. I will have a brand new one for you then. Also pop into my website at www.3dgameman.com, and while you're there, you can go into the forums and register. And remember, registration is completely free. Also keep in mind you can find out a lot more on this product in the forums. And as a final note, if you love watching my video reviews, please remember to help support 3dgameman.com. If you wish to support, please visit support3gm.com. Until next time, take care. Or about 80% efficient at typical load. The efficiency in being more efficient and therefore stable. Therefore, cooling, so the power supply is not intended for the hardcore gamer because it does not have enough. Because it's ultra silent, even as an name.